All is a part of life, and some of those parts scream in laughter and agony, all together as one cacophony, in the seemingly endless and cold silence of the cosmos. No one cares. No one cares. Do you even dare? Very few, less than naught indeed. It's an empty experience. It's an empty calm. It's a great terror. It's a nothingness, little seed of disease that we breathe in every lungful of air. Darkness looms. Harm is certain. Death is welcome. The conscious, the unaware, the subversive and hidden beneath the stars' eyes stare mockingly, fuck the world. And the whole world gets a new air of breed. Cunning, dangerous, menacing and insidious, fuck the world. And we might just be there at last. Kingdom come, heaven undone. The end. The conundrum for living is resistance to awareness and acceptance of pain. The conundrum for feeling is judgment out of passive-aggressive action. The conundrum for dying is fear of letting go entirely. The conundrum for reason is slavery to thought. The conundrum for lunacy is naught. An insane reality deserves an equally insane response. That is, to face it. Therefore, to leave reality is sane. Then there are none left in this world to inhabit, an asylum more rather. Let the beasts run free, let the vermin eat your stew, let the moths, flies, and roaches consume you too. Leave none behind, and let the feast begin. Forfeiture of values into an empty glass bowl. Forfeiture of individuality into a full glass bowl. Death is dissolution. Emptying of all notion and perception is freedom. Synapse, syntax, lapse, incomprehensible, non-feeling nothingness, non-founded, no thing, no image, no place, no names. I have a mental condition where my mind and voices spout out profanities, slurs, lies, and vulgar vitriol, seemingly ad nauseum while awake. It's the kind of stuff that you wish you could forget. The kind of stuff that makes you want to die. Every day, over and over, judge and punish, rebuke and repent, snake eating its tail, lions, tigers and bears, serpents devouring vultures. If only they realized they were all a part of the same sepulchre. Self-awareness abused to demonstrate inadequacies, insecurities, grotesque, convoluted fears, steaming and quelling up from the heart, breaking reality into hideous fractal dimensions of monochrome paranoid delusions. Grandeur, all else, fight and flight mode everywhere else. I wish I could forget. I don't want to be seen. I want to be unseen. I don't want the dreams any more, nor the nightmares. Just nothing. Feeling no more, death and true non-relative silence, peace, everlasting, profound quietus, quintessence of nothingness. They dressed in blood and were covered in open wounds. They hissed and sneered and whirred at high pitches. They turned into a unified black blob mass of spinning teeth and whirling saw mouth. They grabbed me with their stretchy, gigantic arms and pulled me into the maw. Then I woke up. The child adult wants to be the world dead because it's not made for them. The adult wants to be a child again because they made the world. The child does not care because they lack social self-awareness. Exceptions in the modern, civilized world are anomalies. The natural realm of the wilderness disposes of these types regularly. Humanity is E-vile-E, another term for compulsive existers, another term of, for the sake of it, woe creators, another term for relief chasers, another term for sadomasochistic psychosociopathic breathers, another term for wanton lust, wan hope, dopamine addicts, another term for sacrilegious theological fanatics, another term for pessimistic, optimistic, sanguine, taciturn shitsterns, another term for death, torment, suffering, and light worshippers, another term for autoerotic, melodramatic, deep, fake, hungry, horny, solipsistic, crazed amateurs, another term for saints, fiends, low lives, dead lives, sad lives, and dead wives, knives out, daggers clean, razor sharp, stark, phosphine gas, rubber masks, shattered flasks, mags and ass, dead on the inside, alive on the outside, horror of horrors, masters of torture, fools in drugs, alcohol, and folly, dead on the outside, alive on the inside, nowhere to go, nowhere to run, away for a while, dead for a while, no place left to turn, no map left unburned, no town to call home, dead for a while, alive for a while, dead inside, finally dead. Logic is the way to say fuck you to reality. Fuck all the unwanted pestering of my psychology. Fuck all the people who just want to proclaim loudly from the heart as chainsaws buzzing in my ears. Fuck all the noises and surges in energy. Logic is a way to say no. I don't want it. I don't want your politics. I don't want your religion. I don't want your beliefs. I don't want your ideals. I don't want your social clubs and hierarchies. Fuck off. There is no reason in anything. Assumption is convenient. In trust, faith is required. Whether you can have a sensation of knowing or uncertainty, the reality of feeling is evident. So let go of trying to explain and or proclaim intuitively. First, deconstruct whatever visible, verily without error, to see that which remains is indubitably the truth. This, of course, presumes reduction of apparentness, entails a hidden face, fundamentally dissimilar behind a superficial one. Can you not guarantee illusion any more than a thing itself? Is there a distinction? Is there another? It just is what it is? Or are we just playing semantics, and is there a way to know? The star principle of uncertainty is in the end process of rationality. The fine health discipline in wisdom, accordingly by nature, is to cancel emotionally acting out of, and giving up its mental pursuit. You can't really know, for sure, an independence of observation exists. You also cannot know if apparentness is all that is, without any logical doubt. Elaboration. There's no reason to say anything exists, but there's no reason to assume feeling is all that is either, and it doesn't have to be important to you. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. Pain creates desire because it is intrinsically repulsive. It makes us want to flee from it. Without discomfort, there is no motivation to move from your chair and to spread your legs. No motivation to eat when hungry. No motivation to make love without feeling deprived of it. No motivation to talk without being deprived of sharing. In the cases where there is a desired goal with unpleasant steps, there has to be some greater pain of unworthiness, hurt in esteem, other physical and or emotional woes to seek it for remedy, like with working out, masochism, writing a book, eating healthily, etc. So unless one can find no relief in anything, then there is always desire. Pain creates deprivation, for which to chase after replacement. Sit still long enough and it is clear you will want to get up and move, unless there is some greater pain causing you to want death. In essence, pain creates the illusion of pleasure, and without that, no other agenda or sense of mission would exist. There are all sorts of different pains, and all sorts of different reliefs, to be sure. Like with kinetic pressure, from sitting too long, and the blood flow to the numbed or sore areas when changing positions. Like with love, of feeling isolated and the relief of finding a mate. Like with thirst and the relief water brings to hydrate the body for survival. Like with hunger and the relief nutrients bring to revitalize the body. Like with calories and the relief energy brings to give some stimulation. Like with social interaction and the relief it brings to have a sense of purpose in communicating. Like with art and the relief it brings to express emotions, ideas, etc. The list goes on and on. It usually all revolves around tribe and group survival for reproduction and care for the infants and one's collective. These are the base points towards which propulsion points for humans, among all others comparatively superficial and dry. I can admit that from my own values, as a life downer, it is just my own bigotries and prejudice against suffering having no intrinsic reason to it. I can admit I do not like the sound of logic having no place in the universe, because I care about discovering and sharing truths, a sense of purpose, if you will. I can admit that, just because suffering has no reason, and many people wouldn't like the sound of that, doesn't mean insanity, hope, love, masochism, sadism, etc. in perpetuating conscious existence isn't also equally valuable to someone else. I have, however, found very few people who admit the facts this way. Most want to proclaim with heated vitriol that their way of living is the only obligatory way. It's not true. You can be insane, consistently erratic, unstable, psychopathic, sociopathic, and pernicious, and be just as devoid of reason as someone who wants not to exist. Unfortunately, or fortunately for some, that's just the inherent nature of the universe. Our judgments make us feel superior, a distancing mechanism and or punishing device, based on the alpha-beta competitive ego, livened through the flight or fight, fawn or freeze mode, offensively, defensively bolstered in passive-aggressive, obsessive tendencies from character, personal insecurities, to smite and bless others and or our own esteem with. It's like a psychological superpower, in other words. It is non-negotiable, just not always required for making itself readily knowable to unkeen eyes. I'd love to chat with someone who can not only mentally acknowledge this, but speak it too, though there is no real escape. Acting is necessarily based on what we value, a social construct of evolution that is absolutely bound to feeling a sense of communion and function within a group. So even laying down and dying is as well doing only that. For when pain is greater than a sense of mission and morality, and or hope in it, the subject will seek death. That is, a natural force for displacing lost, burdensome individuals who harm the collective's continuation. Feel free to correct me. This post is an example of my psychosocial ego-esteem complex, of me attempting to prove and make a point for changing minds to my own view. It creates within me a sense of accomplishment to share what I believe and or know is the truth, because I value it, within the social alpha-beta context of these niche circles. Also, for reinforcement, the obscure and esoteric understandings of people within these spheres could help me strengthen myself more by their potentially revealing words. It is what it is. It's all ego, every action, just showing off. There's bias and prejudice, and when we don't care about bias and prejudice, there's truth and logic to rub our psychological love associations with. And for naught, because judgment of ignorance is still not freedom from that, for there is no inherent reason in anything. Not one iota. Bit. Nada. Nothing. We're irrational animals through and through, so how do you not go insane? Well, if you don't enjoy yourself. Hell, if you exist long enough without wanting to, anyone will go apeshit. So what does that mean? Technically, the word is an invention of humankind to stigmatize, rebuke, and isolate the mentally neurotic and disadvantaged. By truth, they are no different, just more functionally adapted in society. I think, because it is a relief from the present moment of dread. I don't like the way it feels to just be most of the time. So I come here, since you guys usually seem like such receptive folk. Ah, yes, despair. But that is none of your concern.